What if I told you that a single stretch of water, barely visible on most maps, controls the fate of the entire global economy? And right now, that lifeline is under threat. This is not just another war. This is the beginning of an economic chain reaction that could impact your fuel, your food, and your future. For over 50 years, the modern world has depended on one simple idea: oil will always flow. Ships will always move, supply chains will always function, and energy will always be available. But today, that system is breaking, and it is happening faster than most people realize. There's a narrow passage in the Middle East so small, yet so powerful, that nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through it every single day. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Now imagine one disruption, one escalation, one blockade, and suddenly the world doesn't have enough energy. Oil prices don't just rise, they explode. And when oil rises, everything rises. Transport becomes expensive, production slows down, and economies begin to feel the pressure. And here's the scary part. This is not just a theory anymore, it is already starting. Across the world, the effects are becoming visible. In Southeast Asia, fuel shortages are tightening, factories are slowing down, and transportation costs are rising. In Europe, energy bills are becoming unpredictable again, and industries that depend on cheap fuel are struggling to survive. In developing economies, this is not just an inconvenience, it is survival. Because when diesel becomes expensive, food becomes expensive, and when food becomes expensive, crisis begins. Now consider China, the world's manufacturing engine. Its entire system depends on importing energy and exporting goods. But when energy becomes unstable, factories slow down, production costs rise, and exports become more expensive. The engine that powered global growth starts losing momentum. Even China's future bets like artificial intelligence and advanced technology depend on massive amounts of energy. And without stable energy, even the future becomes uncertain. On the other side, the United States appears to be in a stronger position. It has natural resources, it has energy, and it has geographic advantages. But even it cannot escape the global system, because markets are deeply connected, and when global oil prices spike, inflation rises everywhere. With massive national debt already in place, any economic shock becomes even more dangerous. So even the most powerful economy in the world is not immune to this crisis. But the real impact is often hidden. In parts of Africa, rising fuel prices are making farming unaffordable. Fertilizer costs are increasing, transportation systems are weakening, and food production is slowing down. This creates a dangerous chain reaction where less production leads to higher prices and eventually food shortages. Experts are warning that this could turn into a large-scale humanitarian crisis, not directly because of war, but because of energy disruption. For decades, the global system worked in a simple way. The Middle East produced energy, Asia manufactured goods, and the West consumed everything. But that model is now breaking. We are entering a new world where countries can no longer depend on others for survival, where energy security becomes national security, and where supply chains can be used as powerful tools of control. This is not just an oil crisis. This is a global reset, a shift from interdependence to survival. The countries that will succeed in this new world are not necessarily the richest, but the ones that are the most self-sufficient with their own energy, their own food, and their own supply chains. The question is no longer whether this crisis will happen, because it already has. The real question is whether you are ready for what comes next.